Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something you interact with every single day, probably without even giving it a second thought. I mean, whether you're rocking haute couture or just chilling in yesterday's sweatpants, we are looking at clothing as the literal fabric of human history. Over the course of this explainer, we are literally going to unravel the thread of our evolution. We're tracing this wild journey from primitive cave dwellers who just wanted to stay physically warm to survive, all the way to modern, multifaceted individuals carefully curating their own personal style. So here's our roadmap for unraveling that thread. First, we'll decode our daily wardrobe. Then, we'll track the leap from protection to identity, look at the forces shaping the thread, trace the historical timeline, and finally, decode the unspoken language of style. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, decoding our daily wardrobe. It's time to set our baseline. Okay, I want to start by challenging you directly. Seriously, take a quick second and look down at your clothes. What are you actually wearing right now? Is it fashion? Is it apparel? Or is it a costume? Think about the specific intent behind what you chose to put on your body this morning. Let's separate those three concepts, because it's kind of fascinating. If what you're wearing is driven by a distinct practical function, like, say, a raincoat to stay dry or those comfy sweatpants for lounging, that is apparel. It's driven purely by function. Now, if you're wearing clothing to portray a specific character or for some sort of ceremonial event, that's a costume. But fashion? Well, fashion is a prevailing style or trend that's accepted in a particular time by a particular group. The absolute key here is that fashion actually changes with time. See, true fashion is so much more than just pieces of fabric stitched together. It sits perfectly at the intersection of our art and aesthetic creativity, our culture and shared customs, the collective behavior of our society, and our everyday lifestyle habits. It's this constant flowing feedback loop between all four of those elements. Moving into Section 2, from protection to identity. Let's look at the incredible evolution of our needs. You know, humanity didn't just casually change clothes over thousands of years. We effectively leveled up our human consciousness. We started at the absolute base level of mere survival, with protection. Then, as early civilizations started forming, we introduced modesty. Next up came adornment, just to enhance beauty. That soon evolved into a way to display social status. And finally, we arrived at the very top, identity. We climbed all the way from just trying not to freeze to death to using our garments for total self-actualization. Following this golden thread, notice how clothing starts as a literal physical barrier. Think of it like a shield guarding against danger. But as you travel up that timeline, past the robes of modesty and the jewelry of adornment, the garment completely transforms into a psychological canvas. It culminates in social hierarchy and personal identity, where our clothing communicates exactly where we belong in the world. Okay, on to Section 3, forces shaping the thread. Let's talk about those invisible pressures. There are actually 5 massive, invisible forces that are perpetually pushing and pulling on our wardrobes. We've got climate, religion, technology, economy, and culture. Every single one of these acts as a relentless driver of change throughout human history. If you look at the history of fashion, the human figure is right at the core of this massive web, constantly being balanced and pressured. Environmental demands dictate our physical needs, right? While spiritual beliefs lay down the rules for modesty. Regional customs shape our cultural art. Trade routes and wealth distribution totally sway the economy. And innovations in textiles drive the technology. And there's the human body caught smack in the middle of all of this. To clearly see this in action, let's ground those abstract forces in a really specific example. When it comes to climate, form always follows environment. Look at how extreme conditions drive material innovation. A freezing cold climate prioritizes insulation, basically forcing the use of layered animal hides. On the flip side, a hot climate prioritizes breathability, leading to loose construction and natural fibers like cotton. A rainy climate? Well, that demands impermeability, using water-resistant materials. And even occupational hazards demand physical protection for specialized labor. Long story short, the environment directly dictates what we invent to wear. All right, Section 4, tracing the historical timeline. Let's dive into the actual chronology of dress. Now, you might be wondering, how do we even know all this history? Well, the primary archives of human dress basically come in 4 forms. We've got physical evidence, like ancient Egyptian mummies wrapped in linen. We have artistic records, ranging from early cave paintings all the way up to incredibly detailed Pompeii frescoes. We have structural artifacts, offering precise sculptural records. Think of the armor on China's terracotta warriors. And finally, documentary evidence, like ancient texts and coins. These 4 sources are exactly how we unearth the thread. Using those 4 pillars of evidence, we can quickly map out the major historical leaps we're going to explore. We'll move chronologically from ancient civilizations, right into the Middle Ages, plowing through the Industrial Revolution, and finally land in the era of modern fashion. Back in ancient civilizations, we see the development of incredibly complex weaving, vibrant dyes, and structured draping. Stuff like Egyptian linens and Roman togas were used as distinct markers of cultural identity. But if you contrast that with the Middle Ages, fashion becomes super rigid, dictated heavily by religion and feudal hierarchies. They actually had strict sumptuary laws that legally dictated exactly who could wear specific fabrics, based entirely on their social class. Literally, the original fashion police. But that rigid hierarchy was ultimately completely shattered by the Industrial Revolution. The mechanization of the power loom and the sewing machine broke all the old production limits. They mass-produced fashion and introduced true globalized trends. This massive acceleration leads directly to modern fashion. Today is undeniably the era of ultimate individual expression, driven much more by personal creativity than just your geography or your social class. And finally, Section 5, the unspoken language of style. Time to talk about nonverbal communication. I want to turn the lens right back onto you for a second. Whether it's a super sharply tailored suit or a beautifully draped traditional sari, studying fashion history reveals that clothing is arguably our most powerful form of nonverbal communication. That outfit you chose today, it is silently broadcasting to the world. It signals your identity, telling people exactly who you are. It reflects your culture and the deep roots of where you come from. It showcases your momentary emotions, and it loudly conveys your personal values to society. So, the absolutely crucial point I want to leave you with today is beautifully summarized by this thought. We wear our history, our environment, and our identity. The very next time you get dressed and look in the mirror, I really want you to realize that you are looking at a living, breathing canvas representing thousands of years of human evolution. The only question left is, what story is your canvas telling the world today?